Hello and welcome. Fancy seeing you here. No, I knew you were coming. And I appreciate you being here because I have a lot to go through today. Wow. We have an incredible amount of objects, both prehistoric, very, very old, and from history, the past, few hundred years. But we're still talking, 300 years old in some cases. So we have a lot to see, a lot to look at. I've got a jeweler's eye. So we've got a good tool. I've got my notebook out so we can take some preliminary notes. But I think we should take a little tour of the prehistoric ocean and historic mankind. Between you and me, we may or may not have the permit that would justify the acquisition of some of these items. So a phrase that you'll be used to hearing around here is, I can neither confirm nor deny. So, I can neither confirm nor deny. That is our motto. Our second motto is, I can neither confirm nor deny, but I can appreciate and have curiosity, and I'm so excited. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? And then we can get some lunch. How about that? Okay. Something that's immediately of interest to me is these pieces of pipe. These pieces of pipe. Now these are made out of clay, and these things are very old. These things are very, very old. You'll see they're all shapes and sizes, and in all different widths. That's right. When you bust out that word, you're getting very scientific. Width. So I really enjoy thinking about who would have, smoked these pipes. Now these were pre-filled and disposable, marketed as disposable, so these specimens were found along the Thames River, which makes you think that the last hands to have touched these pipes probably hundreds of years ago in the Georgian era, when they would have been making ships and sailing in. The last hands to have touched these things would have been a man, not a woman, a man. And he would have smoked this. He would have emptied and he would have thrown it into the river. Just tossed it off the side of the ship. He would have tossed it off the side of the dock. Just thrown it in. Hundreds of years later, it is washed up to the shore. And the next hands to touch it are mine. In a world that's very, very different. Now imagine you are this little piece of clay. The world is one way. When you go in that river and you come out of the river, my God, it's different. First of all, there's me touching it, and I'm not a man. What am I doing out of the house? Oh, I know. Times have changed. Yeah, I'm out of the house. I'm wearing pants. I'm a lesbian. And I'm doing this for fun. I'm gonna go have fish and chips later. Do you see how the world's different? Very different. I got this in my pocket. In the other pocket I've got an iPhone. Now imagine what someone's gonna find that my hands touched hundreds of years later. Think about that. But anyway, so all of these that you see here would have been in some dude's mouth. Some dirty old sailor's mouth. God knows what his life would have been like. Look at all these. These are all representative of an individual. Unless we're talking we got a serial smoker on our hands. this is one dude, but I don't think so. This is many people's bits of pipe that they threw away. So these are my favorite things to find because of how narrative it is. Yeah. So you can hear that it's clay. It's got a tappy sound. These are very lightweight. It's a miracle that they survive at all. Some people find them whole, and that's a big wish of mine, is to find a whole one. You can see in these larger pieces that the stem of the pipe, you get the body still here in some form, just a little bit. These are nice. These are thicker, so it makes sense that they've survived. And look at this tiny one. This is our thinnest one. Who was smoking this? A child? What is this, a baby pipe? I bet you they had babies smoking tobacco. Times were different. Okay. So we've got these pipes. They're nice, they're durable. They're not as delicate as you think. After all, they did survive hundreds of years being tossed around the rocks under the river. These were at the bottom, while on top it was Uber boats. Boat after boat after boat, until the Uber boat taking tourists all around the city of London. And I bet that's new for them too. God, I can't imagine. It's gotta be so new, so different. You know, the sea and the oceans of the world, they do their thing to glass. They make glass, but they also soften human glass, so you can tell that this was something. It's got a ridge here. This is not sea glass, but this is just a piece of old glass that has been very smoothed. It can't hurt you, because it's just, been tumbled almost. And I like these pieces too. I like how they look. Can you see through it? No, and that's the point. God knows what strange things they've trapped in the glass with little bacteria. But we've got a lot of sea glass. This is always good to get. Just grab that. In this case, river glass. But things that are a little bit harder to categorize are going to be our pottery shards. Our shards. Let's look. Now, you find a lot of this kind of blue and white china. This looks contemporary to me. And this looks older. Now, I like to just pick this up because, again, you don't know. I don't know yet necessarily when this is from, but as the collection grows, I should be able to tell. I should be able to find out. Now, can you tell by looking at this spread what is absolutely in the shard, what is undeniably like 300 years old? It is this one. This one. Still got the dirt from the river on it. Let's take a look. This is a very unique piece, and you can always tell because they sit amongst the stones in this kind of brown speckly pattern. This is from a Bartman jug. These little round, gorgeous jugs were brought from Germany, Cologne region, I think. And intact, they have faces and some type of seal emblem on the body, the belly of the jug, and the face is up top. Now, what a goal is to find a face. But this was a thrill to find because it was just so obvious what it was. It's like even this interior, God, This thing is like 300 years old. This thing was forged by human hands, brought over on a ship from Germany to London. This shard, it was busted up, it was broken by the hands of time, left, and now this piece is separated from the rest of its body. God, I love this. It almost looks like a little tomb, a little grave, marking the death of another Bartman jug to time. I will always pick any shard of anything. This one's got some writing right here. It's been cut off just because of the existential beauty. The existential beauty of these things. Look at them all like bones. They're not bones, but God, they look like bones. And this is the little remnants of history. Now, I will also pick things up even if I don't know what they are. If they look unique, if they don't look like anything else that I see, and if they just spark my imagination. Because look, I could tell you this is a dinosaur egg. It's not, but doesn't this pattern, look at that. That's not dirt. What is that? Spray paint? We don't know. The point is, if it captures your imagination, pick it up. Pick it up, because, yeah, you don't know what things are. For example, this was a one-of-a-kind. It wasn't anything like it. It's definitely some kind of tile, but it just captures my imagination, so it's part of the collection. While other things are just undeniable, they are what they are. I know what it is, and so it feels so special to be able to be alive, on Earth and hold this. And if all else fails in the world and everything turns to shit, I got this little tomb right here, this little grave that says, hey, everything ends. It's okay. Yeah, what a journey this little thing's been on. Alright. So, now, we have a tool. This is the jeweler's eye. So you can now see that the wording on that, we have an R-O, maybe an M. Okay. But the jeweler's eye can help us see detail that we couldn't have seen otherwise. So we're testing it out on this pottery before we take a look at our prehistoric artifacts. It's pretty cool, huh? Okay. So now let's check out something quite different. Found this. And this was by the ocean. Now, if I'm correct, this is a sea fan. This is a preserved, fossilized, let's see if we can get the angle right, sea fan. So you see the little, where it fans out from its connection to the stem, or the stalk, or whatever it's called. It's kind of been pressed in here. Yeah, a sea fan. We also have a variety of creatures. Now, this is not found, this is bought. I bought this from a shop. It was found in Yorkshire. Now, you can see this is what the rock would have looked like from the outside. It would have just had this pattern. So somebody seeing that could then know to crack it open, revealing the fossil inside. So this has been prepared for someone like me to come along and purchase. But I have found some impressions in some rocks that I have chiseled out. Now, on the outside of the rock, you can see these kind of indentations, and that's maybe a clue. I mean, a strong clue that there's something inside. This is a kind of flaky rock that falls from cliffs. So, this is the outside of the rock. I just noticed it had some unusual indentations. I cracked it open, and look who was waiting for me. Now, you can see there's impression in the rock, but then the specimen is inside. So this is like interior. You can see kind of it's concaved, but then you can see it's raised where there's still matter. Because sometimes what happens is these things get trapped in the rock and then they just leave an impression. You can see a little one right there, trapped in there. But I think this is beautiful, right? Like, if this is prepared, you know, this is just raw and still in here. I think this is beautiful. I also chiseled this one out. You can see the little marks where I struck the rock. I did this carefully to make sure that this came out as one piece. But this one I found just sitting here, just was sitting, and it's double-sided with impressions. Isn't this incredible? My God, we're talking millions of years old at this point. This was something else that fell out of a rock. Just this beautiful cast. This beautiful cast of something amazing. Check this out. This was not found by the ocean with these specimens. This was found at the same location as our beautiful Bartman jug fragment. This is a crystallized fossil. So sometimes what happens when something is trapped in a rock and it kind of decays, in the indentation a crystal might form. And in this case you can see a bit of the rock still here. A crystal formed in the shape. I wish I had the whole thing, but just you can see all the little granules of the crystal here. Let's see if this looks any different in the jeweler's light. Oh wow, I can see it a bit better. Look at that, you can see the little grains of rock in between it. You can see every little ridge. Wow. Beautiful, huh? Gorgeous. Let's look at something else. I found this, and this is a very old fossilized shell. I'm not sure what, but it's heavy. You can tell this is coated in rock now. It is a true fossil. Oh, it's little ridges. Look at that. Ooh. Looks like an elephant. Wow. This thing is also very old. It's gotta be just incredibly, incredibly old. I mean, when you're talking millions of years, it really makes you wonder, you know, these creatures that they swam around in the earth in their spiral shells. You know, they've passed on. They went the same route as this guy, smoked this pipe, puffed on this bad boy. down a very different London. It's kind of incredible. They're both here right now, but they're from different times, and they don't have that memory of each other, and yet they're on my desk. Okay. Here's some other interesting ones. Now you might be able to notice that this rock type is different than this one. This is very chalky looking. Doesn't it look very dusty and very chalky? That's why it's able to break apart. Then you've got specimens who are trapped in harder rock. Now, this I'm not taking a chisel to because it's just in there, but I really like to look at these little things just sitting there, right on the surface of the rock. Just sitting there. Let's take a look at it under the light and see if we can see anything interesting about this one. Let's check it out. Looks like the surface of the moon. Let's see. Can we get it in focus? Wow. Sorry for the shaking. My left hand, it's got a bit of a shake to it. What can you do? We've got another one. Wow. This one looks like it's becoming crystallized, like it might be crystallized in there just because of the type. But how beautiful. It's just in there under the surface of the rock. It's in part of the surface of the rock. Now, the magnifying glass will come in handy for this next one, but looks like a normal rock, doesn't it? A big old slate. And check this out. You see it in there? It's tiny. There it is. A little specimen right there. Now, it could be something like an ammonite, but I'm not sure, but there it is. Just right on the surface of this big rock. Yep, that's the little point right there. Anyway, this is all fascinating stuff, isn't it? These little creatures in the primordial earth. The primordial earth, and they don't know what's coming. They have no... how would they know? Neither did this guy with the pipe. All the sailors carrying these jugs as part of their cargo. How would they know? They're just living, Some of that vast speculation on their life is for me to do. And I'm sure somebody's speculation on my life, that's for, it's for someone else to do. Because I don't know what's coming. But we made it this far. Check this out. These little creatures. The same Earth as us. Same Earth as this guy. Same Earth as you and me. I'm very excited. I wonder what we're going to share the planet with eventually. It's just interesting. But anyway, those are my poetic waxings and wanings about that. Finish that. But check it out. I like this little light. Check it out. We've got our various finds here. So you can see why I'm not ready to send these anywhere. They require further identification. Yeah, they require some further identification and some learning, which we can do, but oh yes. I think it's time for lunch. What do you think? I'm getting hungry. Look at all this stuff. Doesn't looking at this make you want to eat? Alright. what a whirlwind tour we just went on. We went all over. From men to creatures of the sea. Aren't we all the same? And so thank you for all your efforts. I'd like to send you home with the crystal. With the little crystal one. And I think, how about a piece of green sea glass? I think these two in combination will bring plenty of luck and plenty of good fortune. So, thank you for helping me today. I really appreciate it. I think we got a lot done. And I can't wait to look at more treasures with you in the future.